song. Right, this is the Africa Daily Show on AGR, Africa Global Radio. Our story, our growth, our future. If you've not heard about what's going on in the Middle East, then I can't even say you're young, because this has been going on for so long. And last week, as you witnessed, if you tuned in, Hafiz Gunu was with us. Mr. Theodore Albright also had a word with us on the subject of Israel versus Hamas. Some would also say Israel versus Gaza. Others would even say Israel versus Palestine. Well, Hafiz is back with us on the microphone for this specific conversation. Hafiz?
Yeah, Prince.
The mic is yours. What's going on?
Well, I'm just running through to hopefully give an update on the whole situation. But before I say anything, I just want to throw this question at you. I'm not sure you're expecting it. Are you familiar with this catchphrase, follow the money?
Follow the money. Yeah, I think I've heard it before.
It's very
I think I've
common
heard it
in
before.
movies and everything.
Yeah, follow the money.
Right.
Yeah.
So essentially, for those still in the dark about what exactly it means, is essentially trying to examine when, trying to expose political corruption by examining money transfers.
Yeah.
That's essentially how it is.
Yeah.
Now, why am I, leading with that? The thing is very simple. Now, when you look at the whole situation with Israel and the United States and the war and everything, it's very important in trying to understand the inseparable, relationship of America and Israel into why they are, how do I put it, why they are such bedfellows, if you like. Why? What is it about Israel that America just can't seem to keep its paws off it? What is it? Why is it backing it to the ends of the world just so these atrocities can go on? Now, if you take a look at the Jewish community and everything, now, for some reason, dare I say that they control the world. Like, they've become so influential in the West, in the UK and everything. Now, in 2023, when the billionaires list was released, in 2023, this year, we are talking about some 260 billionaires that have Jewish origins. So if you go through their history and you read books such as this novel, The Chosen Few, or The Jewish Phenomenon, it will tell you how, they moved from, because they couldn't own land, they moved from that and they concentrate on the services economy, how big and influential they've become. So if you take a look at all that is happening, and the Rothschild family, for instance, you realize that is such huge, war chest they have to be able to finance some of these things that we see. Now, if you look at it in the United States globally, the movers and shakers currently, you will find some sort of Jewish connection somewhere. Let's not go too far. Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook, now Meta fame.
He was raised as a Jew.
Good.
I don't know if he's identifying as a Jew.
Yes, he does have a Jewish connection.
Yeah.
There's the two guys behind Google, Larry Page and the other guy. I forget his name. Jewish connection. There's Bloomberg. The founder of Dell, Michael Soldell. There's even Kamala Harris's husband, Jewish.
George Soros.
And what's his name? Anthony Blinken, Jewish. There's that. Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, is one. Like, they are everywhere. Like, I'm trying to tell just how...
So these are people who have...
movers and shakers.
Influenced by Jewish culture or identify as Jews.
They have some sort of Jewish connection.
Influence.
Yes, influence and connection. And these are the high and mighty of society. And a lot of the time, we've seen how ruthlessly persons that express, opinions that look like it's anti-Semitic are dealt with. And it's not so pretty. Like, they don't mess around with it. If you think I'm kidding, ask Kanye last year.
Oh, yeah, of course. It's at the same time, it's also like when you say someone is racist, right? When you say someone is racist in America,
for them,
ruin your life.
Now, there's a difference here. Now, for the Jewish community, it's about the way they do it and the sort of influence they wield. Now, I mean, when you talk about the Kanye, you mentioned racism. Kanye, we know him every now and again when he has those episodes where, I mean, we've seen him say slavery was a choice. We've seen him wear white Lives Matter t-shirts. COVID-19 vaccine is the mark of the beast, blah, blah, blah. We know him. When he has these episodes, he does that. But immediately he told into the anti-Semitism line of it. What happened? We saw Adidas ditch him. We saw Balenciaga kick him to the curb. JP Morgan and Chase also kick him. Even with Adidas, even though they were losing some $246 million, they said, yes, it's worth it. And they kicked him to a curb. That's how ruthless they are. They deal with people.
Who is ruthless here?
Who? I'm mentioning, you see, I'm talking about the Jewish influence, even in the West. So they have that. Now, if you are talking about,
but do you think is, if we say ruthless, right?
It's look, because, just recently, not even to catch it, just recently, when this whole thing happened. Now, Harvard, I don't know if you've read it. Harvard,
the protests.
Exactly. We had some 30 groups of students, sort of sign a petition to sort of blame Israel for what is going on. And what happened? One of the billionaires on the board of Harvard said he's walking away because of that. And not just that, an alumnus is also saying that they need names of every individual that backed it. Why? Because they need to send it to their friends to deny them job opportunities in future. They will never see them. So that is the line they are throwing.
But so, Hafiz, are we saying that this is it's particular of Jewish people, or we're saying this happens because if for me because even in Ghana, Shatta Wale has complained about.
You see, it is about the reaction to what is considered anti-Semitic. You see, because if you look at the conflict in itself, what is the bone of contention here? Recently, on the 7th of October, Hamas, sort of did something. And in reaction, they've gone about bombing the whole place, raising the whole place to the ground.
You said sort of did something.
And you see, wait.
When you came to Israel, you're saying they bombed the whole place.
No. When you talk about
did something and bomb.
You see, with Hamas, we know it. Look, you see, even the Egyptian intelligence we were talking about, that they informed them. But I'm sure they were simply thinking, there's the Israel rockets and catapults, allow them. But what they didn't bank on was the fact that this time is different. It's more coordinated.
Yeah.
Okay. And in response, what did they do? Take Kenya, not even too far. Go to Kenya and the issue with Al-Shabaab and everything. When Al-Shabaab, went into Kenya and did what they did with everything that happened, the bombing and whatnot, you didn't see Kenya run into Somalia and start bombing Somalia up. They launched a specific operation targeting Al-Shabaab, if it's Al-Shabaab you want. So people are asking, why can't Israel launch that specific operation to target Hamas rather than raising the entirety of Gaza to the ground? So there are these legitimate questions. And recently, I think yesterday, there have been questions of whether or not there will be a ground offensive where they would move in, guns blazing and everything.
I said it will happen, but he won't give a specific date.
Well, yesterday he said it wasn't going to happen. I think the letters were that he said it wasn't going to happen for some reason. They are reconsidering that. So, but
because there's a lot of international. If that's the updates, then it's not surprising.
Now here's the thing.
International interest.
Here's the thing. Yeah. Now, before he even backtracked on the whole idea of launching a ground invasion. Now, there were some analysts, I think, particularly the likes of Scott Ritter, a very good international relations expert. Now, he said something. He said, look, he's of the view that even before that news came out, he said he was of the view that, look, Israel has some 360,000, personnel or soldiers on the reserve list. And he made it very categorical and said, look, Israel is not so good when it comes to face-to-face. Forget the fact that we've heard all the stories about Israeli soldiers, that they are not so good. Now, of course, the special forces are of a different breed. But when you talk about largely the infantry battalion and everything, they are not so good. Why? Because that if you take a look at them, what normally happens is those that went for their 2.5-year military service.
Yeah. These are professors, nurses,
exactly. So
people who
a lot of them, exactly. So a lot of them are deployed into West Bank just for primarily policing duties. That is what they reduce them to. So a lot of the time you find 15, 16-year-old kids running around causing mayhem and everything, and they are forced to rough them up. So some of them leave the military afterwards and never like the experience and don't want to have anything to do with it. So that these are the people that they are calling back to actually go back into ground, battle. It's not something they like, and so it's not like they are so good that.
So that's the suspicion of the experts.
Yes.
You mentioned.
So
the individuals who would be called from the reserve.
Yes, largely. So you would have
interested.
Exactly. So you would have America supplement all of that, moving their ship carriers around just so to flex their muscles and then intimidate others. But with Hamas,
they moved the ship carriers or the warships because of Hezbollah
in the north. Exactly.
Because that would be getting into hot waters because Hezbollah is like 100 times stronger than Hamas. If they get into it, then it's
going to get crazy.
It's going to.
But the thing with Hamas is they are learning. They've learned actually. They've learned from they've moved from just rocks and sticks and everything.
Because the unfortunate thing was when they made Hamas and Hezbollah meet. Apparently they were banished. Hamas was banished at a point.
Okay.
And the idea was if they meet Hezbollah, they would fight amongst themselves. But that didn't happen. This is some years back.
Okay.
You can look into it.
Right.
This happened some years back. But apparently when they met, they rather became, for want of a better expression, friends. Right?
Well, the enemy of my enemy.
You have one cause.
So you can put aside your differences and then target Israel.
And Iran handles both of them, apparently.
Iran apparently supplies weapons to Hamas, and it's something they've actually said publicly, so it's not exactly.
And they've been dealing with Hezbollah for a long time.
Exactly. Now, so for Hamas, like I was saying, they've learned, so they've moved beyond just launching rockets, and now they are very calculating, they are very patient these days. Analysts have looked at how they were able to catch Israel by surprise on October 7, and they'll tell you that they decided to move old school in communication, because when it comes to the Gaza Strip and everything, Israel controls just about everything. So there's no way you call someone and start planning attacks, they won't know about it. They will definitely pick up information. So what they decided to do was drop the phones and then communicate face to face. If I have something to say to you about a plan, I come and tell you face to face. There's no way you can pick up your phone and then know what I'm talking about. So they did that until they were able to catch Israel off guard. And even when they launched the first attack, the first thing they did was to take out the cell towers, so that you can call for backup and everything. That's how
use these cheap rockets, which is apparently being used in the Russia-Ukraine war. That's what Putin is also using.
And they are now getting
slow moving
better
because they are not high tech. The detectors are not able to pick them on time. They are slow moving, so by the time it hits the tower,
it's gone.
It's too late.
So for Hamas, the war is evolving, and this is a war that is something that we cannot digest like from now and just think and say, okay, it will end at a particular time.
Right.
This is some 70 plus years.
Hafiz, from where you started, and Hamas, in the Hamas covenant or the charter, they've clearly said, apparently there's a hadith that tells them that until every Jew behind every tree.
Let's not go there.
No, but that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Hamas, their covenant, which is available on the internet, by the way. It's not like some corner information. So that's what they've said. They want Jews exterminated. You do understand that if someone whose covenant is to exterminate Jews, it reminds the Jews of 6 million of them dying. As though they were, excuse me to say, cockroaches.
You see,
right?
let's
and
understand
so when they also respond, you can't exactly tell them how to respond.
But you see, if like I mentioned, if you have a situation where you are targeting a group of people or individuals, that's okay. But raising the entire place to the ground is the issue here.
And Hamas is known to use human shields. You do know that.
That's all speculation at this point. We are all running with speculations.
Yeah. No, I think that's not speculation.
No.
Over the years,
if anything, it's something that you have pro-Israeli websites.
One of the commanders for Hamas was apparently his house was bombed or something by Israel. Right, he was at home. You are at war. And you go home. Hafiz, would you do this?
Netanyahu's son is in Miami chilling. So there's
no, I'm not talking about his son. I'm saying if
why
you
he's
are
calling
Hafiz-
people to come in and
Hafiz,
fight. So I'm
Hafiz,
only
if
saying
you are at
something.
war, if you are at war, I know a president in Ghana.
Yes.
Because of how tough his job was.
Okay.
He was not. He would not. What's it called? He didn't like to be home, like with family.
Right.
Do you understand? Because of he understood the sort of work he was doing and how special that was. He did not want to jeopardize the life of his family. So if you do something 3 weeks ago as a commander of a political group and also a group that has gone to do something which is very diabolical, you do that and you go home. What are you doing? What are you doing at home?
What should they do then? Look, you see.
When you know you are wanted, what are you doing at home?
Where should he be? I mean, the whole reason they are fighting is because they feel it's their home. So where should they go?
I'm not talking about the land. I'm talking about going to the house.
Look, we can debate this all you want, but you see, the thing is.
Do you see what they did? Because from the beginning, how you laid the foundation is almost as if there's something. Do you think there's something wrong with Jews?
Do I think
there's something wrong with like Jews are special?
No, I'm only saying like how they've managed to become very influential.
But you can't blame them, bro.
No, I'm not blaming. I'm only telling you that it's not like it's well kept secrets that I'm exposing. No, everybody knows Jews run stuff in the United States.
So, but what?
So I'm only trying to draw some sort of relationship with the fact that look, if the USA seem to be backing Israel
Iran
to the ends of the world.
Iran is also backing.
Iran is backing Hamas. Wait.
23 Arab states.
Look, let's understand something.
Bro.
Let's understand something. You see, okay, let's just quickly. We're eating so much into time.
We can get into this.
But you see, the thing about this.
By the way, I'm just pushing back to.
No. I know. I get what you're doing. But you see, the thing about this war is that it's constantly evolving. Mm-hmm. Now you can't even tell who would win because what is winning actually in the end. You can't even define it.
Casualties on both ends.
Exactly. What is it? Where does it end with this bloodshed and everything? Where do you see it? So with Hamas and Israel and whatnot, because you see the way Israel wants to do it, they go in there. Now what we know with ground offensives is that when they go in there, they usually target the head. That if you want to kill this snake, target the head. But the thing about movements is that when they evolve, what you would have is someone that is more ruthless and more strategic than the last one you killed. So if you take the case of, say, Al-Qaeda in 2006, when they apparently, were able to subdue them, they only evolved into ISIS in 2013 and became even more ruthless. So if Israel continues...
but do you know... Yeah. Okay, so I want resolution.
Right.
And you're talking about how one moves, it morphs into another.
Yeah.
Hamas was not called Hamas from the beginning. It was something Brotherhood. I've forgotten.
I'm not sure.
Right. There's something Brotherhood that morphed into it became Hamas, right?
Yeah.
If this continues to happen, and your charter is to extend, you see, what the Hamas covenant is genocidal. I know a lot of people are calling Israel.
Understand the Zionist state and whatnot, but look at what Zionism is all about.
If I hear,
it matters.
Wait, it doesn't matter to me. If I hear that a group of people want to kill blacks, it's not like a certain group of people did them wrong and they are after the group. But the group happens to be black people.
If we are talking about...
If you say you live, the purpose of your group is to destroy black people, to exterminate black people, bro.
And why are they saying that? And why are they saying that? It's because they feel you are occupying their land.
Wait, is it a good reason?
I'm not going to.
I think Hitler had a reason for going.
Someone announced that maybe Hitler was onto something.
No, he had a reason. No, I'm not saying it's a good reason.
Exactly.
Of course, Hamas would have their reason, but I'm saying, is it a good reason?
The morality of it is not something I can say because that's a moral conversation.
Let me say this. Sorry to remind the Rwandese people of this pain. But do you know that in the genocide that happened to the Tutsis, the Hutus were saying the Tutsis were the reason for their struggle in life. They have more money, they are more powerful, And because of
But
that,
whose fault is that? You can even trace the Tutsi thing to Britain.
I don't know.
Once again, to their meddling.
No, it's not Britain. It was, I think it was Germany rather. It's not Britain.
No, understand something.
But listen to
Yes.
this. Hafiz, listen. I don't think it's productive to think about where it even started, whether Britain, Portuguese, German. Do you know why? Because if your purpose is to kill, the Hutus want to kill the Tutsis just because they think they are the reason I'm not prospering in life.
But
It is
why
not
are
a
they
good
prospering to begin with?
Bro, it doesn't matter. So for you to take cutlasses to kill your brother because you think you are not prospering because of him, and you live, your purpose is to exterminate your brother, that's not. I would choose a group that is going after another group. If groups are fighting, I would understand. If ideologies are fighting, I would understand. But for one person to say this bloodline must not live, that's not. And so I believe the Palestinians need a better negotiator and not Hamas. For peace to be, and maybe Fatah, maybe they should go back to Fatah, because Fatah was doing the negotiation, but they voted for Hamas. I think Fatah may be. I don't know.
You are practically putting this at the doorsteps of the Palestinians, making it look like Hamas is out for blood.
Of course they are. But if your covenant says you're on a genocidal race.
Let's understand what the Jews. The Jews aren't exactly Jesuits either. Okay.
I'm not saying.
No.
Okay.
So they are not exactly,
I'm not saying they are
squeaky clean in this whole equation.
I'm not saying that.
Exactly.
That's not.
And we've seen the way they've gone about things. For them, it's not just also just responding to Hamas. Now remember that in this whole situation that is happening, we have certain factors or individuals that are benefiting from it. Case in point is Netanyahu himself. This was a man. Even in Israel, there are pro-Palestine, protests every now and then. Again, and it got so worse, so bad. He's become very unpopular. And what happened? Yes. And when you see the way he's handled this whole situation, the whole idea is for him to trump up this us versus them narrative, so that yes, he appears as the big dog and he's saving, or he's doing some sort of work, because this is a man that has become hugely unpopular. What it means is that so long as it continues, it drives up his ratings for Zionists.
So
And that is what we are talking about.
Why is Hamas not in favor of the Abrahamic Accords, for instance? The Emirates signed it. You see the investment in the Emirates.
Yeah.
The investment in the Emirates. They don't want bombs. They don't want war. Saudi Arabia, the Crown Prince, wanted to. He's saying they are days away from it. Why not sign and come to a place of peace?
Well, peace is going to come at a very costly price, because for them,
may it come. May the peace come, because then it will be prosperous for everybody in the Middle East, including Palestinians and Israelis. If the Emirates have signed,
but are you in favor of the two-party states? They are suggesting the one.
I think maybe we can move that conversation to next week, if we'll revisit this conversation.
Right.
Yes, I think it's a good question. We can have a look at that. For now, we would have to end that conversation here. Next week, hopefully, we'll look at the two-party state.